Next small item before we get to the big ones. Reverse mortgages. I don't know if all of you are aware. This is a hot new item. Banks across America are excited about reverse mortgages. I assume you all know what a mortgage is. A mortgage is when you go and want to buy a home, a house, a condo, a co-op, whatever it is, but you don't have the money. Don't feel bad. That's the condition of 99% of the American people. It's not the condition of the 1%. Rupert Murdoch in the last month since we met has purchased 4 floors at the top of that tall, skinny building that overlooks Madison Park on 23rd Street. Have you ever been to that park? You look at one corner of the park, is a very tall, skinny, modern building, just finished last year. Well, Rupert Murdoch, who owns the newspapers here in the United States, a whole bunch of them, and those around the world, he bought the top 4 floors. I believe when I looked last, he paid $49 million for the 4 floors. Clearly, you're not in that class, but if you are, please see me after the meeting. He paid cash. But most people have to go to the bank and get a loan. The name of the loan you get when you buy a home is mortgage. It's just a name for that kind of loan. So what's a reverse mortgage? Why are the banks excited? Who's taking this out? This is overwhelmingly done by old people. Indeed, in many cases, the law prescribes anybody else. You have to be over a certain age, 60, 65, to be able to do it. And here's what it involves. Not that you borrow money to buy a house. No, no, no. You already own the house. These are loans for people who paid off their house mortgage years ago and are now smiling and feeling good about life because they live in an apartment or a house that they paid off over 20, 30 years. The problem is these are all people who, while sitting on a valuable house, don't have enough money coming in to live, to buy their food, their clothing, and take care of their life experiences. These are people who never had a pension where they worked, or who didn't pay close attention to the pension where they worked and discovered that when they retired, it gave them the rollicking sum of $11,000 a year, which in the city of New York and even in many other places is not enough. So what is it these folks are doing? And these, by the way, are folks that are better off than most because they own the home they live in. So they're in the upper half of our population. But they can't get by. Here's what they do. They go to the bank, and the bank gives them a loan called a reverse mortgage. Every month, the bank gives them, let's say, $1,000. And the bank, therefore, takes $1,000 worth of the value of that house and interest for making the cash available to them every month. So over a few years, the old folks are able to live by progressively turning the property over to the bank. And then a moment comes that I want you to treasure as a moment of the drama of America today. The old folks die, and the children gather. You can see it coming, can't you? They gather to listen to the lawyer who's handling the affairs of the now passed mother and father. Because they know, or rather they thought they knew, that there would be a house, which many of them were born and raised in, that would be a kind of passing gift, so that when the old folks died, their children would have something to build a life on. And the lawyer says to the children, "We have here for you these 6 forks, these 2 slightly soiled sheets, an old plastic tulip, and no house, because the house belongs to the bank, whose reverse mortgage to your parents is why they were able to not ask you for the support they didn't want to take from you, knowing how hard a time you were having with your children." But in terms of your receiving something, inheriting something, you don't know what the situation is. There is a silent process in America today in which what might have created the next generation's middle class, the gift of housing from one generation to another, is being quietly erased. And the children, the young people, are inheriting, and I'll use a technical term now, zilch. It is an old economics term, zilch. It's very close to zero, nothing. And the banks, by the way, in their promotional literature, present this as a remarkable innovation that they're making to serve their clients better.